Welcome to day 14, and wow, what a game that was between the Nuggets and the Jazz. That was a real close thriller. It was a very nail biter. It was kind of like a very defensive matchup. Um, the Nuggets only scored 80 and they won the game, and they only won by 2. So it was kind of crazy. A couple stats for you. Both teams did not shoot well from the floor. 37% for the Nuggets and 38% for the Jazz. It looked like the Nuggets were going to run away with this, and they kind of were not bad offensively until halftime. The Jazz, on the other hand, they were not having a very good offensive night. They had 36 points. Mitchell only had 7 at halftime. That was not very good. I think Clarkson had like 10. Yeah, Clarkson had 10. Gobert only had 2 points, and I think it was like 2 rebounds, something like that. So yeah, it was not a very good first half for the Jazz. And then the Jazz sort of came back in the third quarter. Mitchell, I was really impressed with what he did because literally he just shot. I think he shot like for the first 5 minutes, he shot like all the shots for the Jazz. I want to say. I don't know why I really hunted at like what team he was playing for. Yeah, I think I don't have. It's not like a stat double check, but yeah, I felt like he shot like every shot for them until like the fourth minute of the third quarter. And he had like 13 points, or either 11 points. Overall, Mitchell had 13 points in that quarter. The Nuggets only had 14 in that quarter overall as a team. And I think it was the Jazz had 26 points overall. They really dominated that third quarter. And then the Nuggets couldn't score in the beginning of the fourth. And no team could really score in the fourth. I think it was only 18 points were scored for the Jazz in the fourth, and the Nuggets only had 15 in the fourth. And all that came for the Nuggets. Those 15 points came after the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter. So yeah, this was a very rough game. Denver's defense. Both defenses were terrific down the stretch. But one of the things that I thought that was very highlight to see, Denver's defense on that last play was amazing. But the play before, where they made sure the Jazz took that timeout, because they were able to mess up their play a little bit, and that was huge, and that was very huge for the game. That's kind of it. That's all I got. This was a very rough game. A couple stats for you. Oh wait, before I get into a couple more stats, Gobert, he was actually very good in the second half of this game. He only had 2 points at halftime, I want to say, and he ended up with 13 points, and he was very good in the fourth. Something like, I don't know the exact, but he had a lot of good post-ups and a lot of good tip-ins off rebounds to keep the Jazz in this game. Couple stats. Jokic, he had 30. He was playing dangerously with 5 for the whole fourth quarter, I want to say, something like that. Murray had 17. Porter had 10. Gobert, I already said 19. Mitchell ended up with 22. Clarkson had 10. He shot a lot of wild threes in this game. That's all really I got in this game. Now on to Celtics Raptors. Thoughts on Celtics Raptors? I felt like the Raptors kind of blew this one. Um, I mean, the Raptors actually, they were controlling the first half in this game, in the first quarter actually. Or excuse me, they had a run in the first quarter. They went 7-0. I thought they were going to come back, and they would come back storming. One of the keys for Raptors, and I'd like to see them continue in this series for them. I think that's the only way they're going to win the series. Is if they got a lot more into transition today, especially in the first. They played a little better in the half court, but look, playing in transition is their strength, and they got to create turnovers. They played Lowry a little bit off the ball today. They played Van Vliet, or at least in the first half, Lowry was a little more off the ball, and Van Vliet had the ball, was controlling the ball. That worked okay. There were some shots I didn't really like Van Vliet's shot selection. Some of the shots were kind of like early in the shot clock, 3-pointers from the top of the key. I didn't really like that much. But he made a couple of them, so I mean, not horrible. It was a rough second quarter. There were a lot of missed shots. One notable thing from like a rotation standpoint, Gasol, he was taken out for a little bit. Chris Boucher was put in for his shooting. He actually missed his one shot today. But I think maybe the series goes on. I don't know if Gasol is going to play a lot of minutes in the series. That's going to be interesting to see. Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they were very good. Jaylen Brown, he faltered a little bit in the second half, but he was still very overall good. Tatum was amazing. He had 34 points tonight. Kemba, he was struggling in this game a lot. In the first half especially. I mean, in this whole game he was. Towards the end, he kind of made a nice shot to help the Celtics win this game. In the third quarter, I thought Kemba found his rhythm a little bit. He was still shooting bad, but he made some shots, which is kind of good. He had a nice 3 at the beginning of the quarter in the third. And then I think he shot. Then he made a shot in the paint like with like 4 minutes left, something like that. And the Raptors actually, before I transition back to the halftime, in the first half they didn't shoot any free throws at all. That was bad on the refs' part. I mean, they weren't really driving that much. I mean, they were driving so much inside, but they should get some shots. OG Anunoby, he was very good in this game. He had something like 20 points tonight. He was 4 of 5 from 3. Yeah, 4 of 6 from 3. He was very good. As it continued to third, let's transition back to the third quarter. The Raptors actually were leading this game at the end of the third. And we go to the fourth, and then Marcus Smart hit back-to-back threes, 3 threes in a row in the first 2 minutes to make it a 1-point game. Then he hit another 3 with 9 minutes left. He was amazing in this game. And then he made another 3 a couple minutes later, and it was the 3 and 1 there, which was huge. He had 16 points in the fourth. He had overall something like 19 points. And he was 6 of 11 from 3 overall in the game. And the Raptors shot horrible in the fourth quarter, 3 of 13 or something like that. And Kemba, as I said before, it was actually before I get to the Kemba stuff. Tatum, it was hit with an offensive foul. I thought it was a little bogus. I know it's the rule that if you punch there, it's like whatever, like it's a technical, but I think that's a bogus rule, and I think that's very stupid, and they should change that rule. Then Lowry hit the free throw, but it wouldn't really matter because Kemba would hit a key bucket in the mid-paint with 41.6 left on the clock, and then Smart, who was very key in the fourth quarter overall, would have a key stop and steal, and then Pascal would turn the ball over, and actually, you look at the flop, the Marcus Smart flop was a little bit earlier in the fourth quarter, which I forgot to mention. The Raptors were 5 of 28 from the floor, and 1 of 13 from 3 after that Smart flop challenge. And then the Celtics were 11 of 23 from the floor, and 7-14 from threes, and 7 of 8 from the free throw line. This is according to Eric Corrine. I'm not pronouncing that name. I think he's a guy at Sportsnet or whatever the Toronto equivalent of SportsCenter is. And that's really it. Raptors blew this one. Celtics, that was huge for them to go 2-0. And yeah, that's really it. It was a good day in basketball. The Nuggets Jazz series was really interesting. The last crunch time was really interesting. And that's really all I got today. And yeah.